Hello and welcome again to Red Gaming Tech. My name is Amata. Today is the 29th of March, and this time I have some news for you regarding Final Fantasy 15, as Hajime Tabata has once again spoken out on the development and actually clarified some comments that he made previously. As back in February, he made some comments regarding the development, how far they were coming along, and all that good stuff. And back then he said we're now at 60%. However, when he made these comments, which as I said was back in February, this actually caused some people to have a little bit of concern because, well, Final Fantasy 15 has already been in development for an insane amount of time. Of course, was originally due for the PS3, but of course is now coming out on the PS4 and is of course not related to Final Fantasy 13 at all, whereas of course it originally was intended to be. So obviously people were concerned, it's like, really? You're only 60% done after all this time? Even though he did say originally that 80% wasn't too far ahead, and then of course the final 20 would fall into place pretty easily, but people were still worried. Now, when speaking with GameSpot, Tabata clarified, quote, "To clarify on that 60% figure, it's the playable demo that represents the 60%, which is what I was referring to in February. The main challenge right now is taking all the lessons we learned from making the demo and turning them to something to bring to the full game." Now, Tabata is working with something called the 3 Pillar for Final Fantasy 15. And he went on to say, quote, "In the demo, we were able to focus on one of those pillars and really bring that across to the players. You were able to see it, but there still remain 2 pillars that players may not fully appreciate from the demo. As we head towards the release of the full game promotion-wise, how we can show this to users, what's coming up, and conveying that to our fans is one of the challenges." Now, you may be a little bit like scratching your head, like, what do you mean 3 pillars? But basing something on 3 pillars is something that Square Enix have done for a while now. This method was actually mentioned back in an interview with the Final Fantasy XIV A Realm Reborn director Naoki Yoshida, who basically said that the 3 pillars for him were the great story, the great graphics, and the great game experience. So basically, when they say 3 pillars, they literally mean what are the 3 key elements, the foundations, if you will, that the rest of the game is built upon. Obviously for Final Fantasy XIV, it was those 3. It might be something different for 15, but I think, to be honest, great story, great graphics, and great game experience are pretty standard for any game. And having those for the 3 pillars of Final Fantasy 15 sounds perfectly okay to me. So basically, when you're talking about 60%, we can see that 60% in play in the demo. Obviously, you know, that doesn't mean that's 60% of the game, of course not. That's obviously a area that's quite large, but of course a limited area for the demo. But you can see the 60% in play. The graphics, the gameplay, the voice acting, that sort of thing. The combat system, and a few other bits, of course, all present there. How, you know, cutscenes play and just general exploration elements, things like that. So that's what he was referring to there. So that basically means that, well, the game is coming on pretty nicely. I doubt we'll see it this year, and if we do, it'll be late this year, but to be honest, I'll be more expecting it to come out next year. But I think they're going to be getting a lot of feedback from the demo especially, and they may even be implementing some of the things they hear back from the demo into the full game. That may have been one of the main reasons to actually release a demo, as well as of course giving people a taste of what they've been working on to kind of reinvigorate the hype. Of course, well, this game has been due out for a while now, so hopefully they are listening to feedback from the demo. They need to improve the stasis mechanic. That is the key thing for me. Having you go into stasis, as in, you know, when you run out of mana or MP or whatever you want to call it, and not being able to use special attacks, that's fine. But the way Noctis kind of crouches down every time he goes into stasis really breaks the flow of the combat. And to be honest, while as much as I loved the demo, that was kind of a pretty major niggle for me, to be honest. It didn't ruin it, don't get me wrong, but it'd be nice if that wasn't there. So hopefully they are listening to the feedback, but of course we'll only find out when we see the full release now. So, do let me know your thoughts and opinions. For anyone who's played the demo, what improvements do you think they should make based upon it? And I'll see you next time.